All right. So there's a lot to talk about in the garden. And I'm going to get rained on while I do this. Fantastic. That's fine. So, we got the peony bed. In here, I've got leftover Night Rider lilies that are coming in. They're not as far along as the ones from the original bed, but that's all right. We've got Grandma's peony, which is a split off of Ian's grandma's peony, and this is the third year that we've had it. It produced 5 blooms this year that got a little bit wrecked in the thunderstorms. I had tulips growing in here in the spring and some crocus, but obviously didn't catch them. Got the native cone flower that I bought 3 years ago now, I think, and it comes back with a vengeance. I'm quite impressed with it already. And it can get anywhere from 2 to 5 feet tall, and if last year was any indication, I hope that it gets really big again. So then we've got Julia Rose. This beautiful giant plant produced 15 blooms for us this year, which is 5 times the amount that she had last year. And she's just beautiful. I'm in love with this plant and will baby it probably for forever. Then I've got 3 clematis in here that I bought from Walmart last year. Not sure if they were all going to come back, and they did. This one looks like it has not, but it has, I promise. So I don't know what this one is, because it doesn't have any flowers. It has no blooms, it has no nothing, but it's growing and it's looking all right. Then I've got this purple one back here. It's like it's stabbed by a thistle. Just look at how beautiful this. Sorry. Anyways, so this one, it kind of didn't really grow very tall, even though we gave it the trellis to climb. But look at the purple flowers; they're beautiful. And then I've got another purple one here. This one is my blue boy. And again, was like short, tiny, wasn't sure if it was gonna pop back or not, and then it just took off, and you can see all of the beautiful flowers. These ones open down as well, so they're just really pretty. A little bit squished between the trellis and the deck, because we had to tie the trellis to the deck because it was waving in the wind. And then I've got very sad hanging baskets because I don't ever do great with hanging baskets. And then we have this mess of a clematis. Yeah. She's growing on herself, growing on the hollyhock, growing on the trellis, growing on the porch, growing through the porch. That one I'm not super excited about. But from what we can tell, it just looks like she grew up and over this screw and popped out. So I should be able to rectify that come the winter time. But she's also growing underneath here. Yeah, it's good stuff. And just like, there's so much of her. And I didn't cut all of her back, but I did cut some back. Like you can see that there's old stuff in here. In the fall though, I'm going to have to cut her completely back because she kind of very much took over and like growing on the porch, growing on the trellis to the porch. Like I'm quite impressed with her this year. Then I've got one of the original heucheras doing fantastic. Got the little tiny orange one that I was worried was not going to come back, but it seems to be growing a little bit. I have to come in through and weed. We've had a lot of rain. There's a hosta under there somewhere, and it's actually doing really well this year because it's taking shade from the hollyhock. So last year planted 1, and I believe there is, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stalks this year. So I will probably have to come in here and take a couple of them out because that's a lot of hollyhock in a corner. But I'm actually very glad because I've had a hard time growing stuff in that corner. So this, whatever's going on, doesn't seem to affect it. And like, look at these flowers. They are beautiful and covered in pollen, but that's fine. And I got lots of buds coming up over here. I was hoping that they might hit the window, but they did not. But that's fine. Then you'll also notice that this bed is a little bit different than what it's been in the past. Usually around this time I have a giant gaping hole because I had all my spring bulbs in the center and they would die out. And so I was kind of thinking, I was getting annoyed with constantly having to buy annuals to fill in spaces, and I'm terrible with annuals. I don't know what it is, but I'm absolutely terrible with them. And so I would end up with a big dead spot in the middle. So I moved my heucheras to the front, and then I got a bunch of daylilies from a lady in Indian Head, and they have bloom stalks on them. And again, I have to weed again. But yeah, so my daffodils and my tulips and my crocus and my alliums, as you can see, my alliums that even look good dried. I'm going to have to cut these because I might want to use them in my wedding bouquets. They all came up, and now my summer flowers are coming in and filling in my spots, which is what I wanted. So as you can see, there are scapes coming up that are going to flower, and I have a tulip head there that was pollinated, so I won't have to pull that. Yeah. And then, yeah, there's my dark heuchera, my orange heuchera. This is supposed to be a black heuchera, but it just really looks dark purple. This is gonna be a hot pink one as it matures. Another obsidian one. This one I was afraid was not going to come back because I did not pull a bunch of bulbs and they grew through it, but it seems to be doing all right, and I will go in and weed and give it its best shot. And then one of the other original heucheras. Then leftover night riders, because if you don't get all of the lily bulb, they will become more lilies. But that's alright because these are probably my favorite color of lilies. And then there's the big hosta that sits under the tap that I believe has 3 crowns now. So I might have to get in there and separate that out. Oh, and the guacamole is doing really well too. So then that brings us to the hanging baskets that we are again not talking about. But this brings us to the rose bed, which this year is more of a strawberry bed than a rose bed. But you'll also notice that there's garlic in here. So we have had issues for a couple years now where you can see there is some damage here. I forget what the pest is called. I'd have to Google it just because I don't remember it off the top of my head. But we have had issues where this pest just destroys the leaves on our roses. And there's nothing that we've been able to do. We come out here with pesticides and it's never worked. And we lose the strawberries, which again, I have to get before the rabbits do because there's so many, and like we already have so many in the house that I got the other day. Oh, there's a little, I don't know if you can see him, but there's a harvestman crawling around. But anyways, I had read that planting garlic deters this pest, and this is the first year that I've done this, and I will attest to that. There is significantly less damage on my roses where the garlic has been. So yeah, there has been less damage on this side, and you'll see there's lots of garlic. Then if you kind of look over here, there's a little bit more damage, and there's no garlic in between Hope for Humanity and Centennial. And Centennial bloomed, and I'm very happy because she's always the last one to bloom, and I'm afraid that she's always dead. But then that's the one that I picked. So, yes, lots of strawberries. Guess where the rabbits hung out all winter? Which is another one that I'm battling. I have to battle the rabbits and the birds for my strawberries. And so this is Centennial. Being gorgeous. I apologize if you can hear that whirring because that's super annoying. Yeah. And then a garlic that I pulled the other day that's gonna have to come inside with me. I was pulling scapes and I accidentally ripped one out the whole way. But yeah, as you can see, there is still some damage on the leaves, but it's way less than it's been at this time in previous years. So then we've also got, I believe this is Campfire, and it has been producing flowers. Not really growing up much, but just absolutely covered in flowers. And it's very beautiful. And again, we're still learning on the roses. I was told that they're super easy to take care of, and for whatever reason they've not been super easy to take care of, but we're working on it. And then again, no garlic in this area, and you can see that Sunrise is kind of struggling a little bit, but this is also one that has struggled all the time for us. And the fact that it came back this year made me very happy, even if this portion of it is like dead. And more strawberries, because I started with 18 strawberries and now have bazillions. So then this is the lily disaster. I'll have to post the story of the lilies last year, because I ended up losing an order, getting it refunded, or parts of it refunded, parts of it reshipped, and then found the original order. So I had way too many lilies, and they're all in here now. I could not tell you what's what until they start to bloom, but as you can see, they are getting very close to doing that. This one has just started to open, so it should be flowering pretty quick here. Ooh, one of my irises is flowering. Okay, so these are not the expensive irises that I bought and lost. These ones are ones that I got from Cherry Lane last year on a whim. I bought 3 of them. I'm not sure if they would grow just based off of where they were being planted, but I have an iris bloom. That's awesome. So there's one clump, there's another clump, and then another clump is in that general area. My bleeding heart, this big one came back. It did not like when it got really hot in the early spring there, but she's coming back, doing pretty good. I'm noticing a lot of the light green, so I'm gonna have to put some fertilizer in here. The mallow, ow, I found a thistle, sorry. The mallow, okay, so this was growing, and then Ian accidentally hit it with the whippersnipper and cut it down. I was really worried that this was not going to come back because we did not get a chance to cover it. So this is a zone 4 plant. I live in zone 3B, which is close to zone 4. So it was kind of a gamble on if this was going to come back or not. And it has come back. It's doing quite well. I'm quite impressed. I just need it to continue to do well and flower for me, because it's got beautiful, almost hibiscus looking. Sorry, there's a bird in my neighbor's yard making noise. Beautiful red hibiscus looking blooms on it. So I'm hoping that it'll survive August when it gets too hot, because it doesn't like super hot. And it will put out some blooms so I can take some pretty pictures. Got some more lilies that are coloring up on their bloom, or their buds here. So hopefully they will start opening up soon, because this is going to be unbelievable when it's all colorful. My other bleeding heart is in here. My dark leaf one. I was absolutely certain it was not going to come back. And it's not doing like super fantastic, but it is growing. So that's awesome. I've got these heucheras that have the pink variegation on it. Ian actually found these for me. Oh, here's the other clump of irises. Also kind of on the small side. The other, I think it's called Pink Moon heuchera, is over here. It had a giant thistle growing through the center of it, so I'm not sure what it'll do. It is growing. It does have new leaves, but it's very tiny. And I've got the other coneflower. Eventually, what I want is to have a little bit of a fence go around to kind of keep my yard away from the sidewalk, and then have some sort of an arch that is saddled by either of the coneflowers. Make it a tiny, like, secret garden. But I also want to get rid of all the sod. I've also got this peony. It flowered this year, and the rabbits ate the flower because that's what they do. This was supposed to be like super dark purple, and it ended up being burgundy. So I'm not super impressed by that. We'll see what it does next year. Oh, you want to see a mutant coneflower? Look at that thing. It's impressive. So yeah. This is its first year. I'll see what happens with it next year. If it's not the color that I want, I might actually rip it out, but we'll see. More lilies. And then there's 6 daylilies running across here. I bought them from a greenhouse. I couldn't tell you what they are until they start to bloom, but they all have bloom stalks this year, which is nice. I got more lilies. The yellow ones are always the first ones to pop up for me and open up. They're just very tiny. And so then these pink ones are going to be coloring up here right away. Lots of light green, which is unfortunate. I'm going to have to get some fertilizer in here. You would think with my mulch and stuff that it wouldn't be this light green, but here we are. Also, these daylily scapes are probably 3 feet tall. It's quite impressive, not gonna lie. And then my last peony. So this is the lollipop peony that I bought last year. So I've got another couple years before it flowers, but it's supposed to be yellow with purple stripes on it, and I'm very excited. And yeah, that's kind of it for now. Another strawberry plant decided it needed to come all the way to the road. But yeah, everything in here except the baskets at this point is a perennial. And I've been gardening for 5 years in this property now, overall, I think. And I'm quite impressed with what we've managed in the front yard. And I will eventually do a backyard one, but it's a swamp again, and I'm not growing vegetables, so it's more flowers, so there's not really anything to look at right now. But yeah, that is your update of the gardens for the first time in quite a while. So hopefully I will have some more posts this year. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I will post pictures and stuff when the flowers start to open for sure. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching.